it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're a fan of the flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can't hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can't hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for E. I'm still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voice as I guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you all.
But he's gone wide! He's going incredible!
Take it, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment. And every fire starts with a spark. A revolution. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment. And every fire starts with a spark. A revolution.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel.
Hello, and welcome to FRLT Season 6. Yes, it is time for Season 6 of Assists. 6th season of Assists, which is absolutely crazy. And I've got to say, it is going to be a very interesting... It's going to be very interesting season. We've got a long season ahead of us. We're still waiting on a couple of drivers right now to join. Waiting on 4 drivers, I believe, to join. So while we have this short wait, we're going to have a look at the track map. For this first race, we come to China, Shanghai, 5.451 kilometers, 3.387 miles. As you can see, not a lot of elevation. Again, the biggest amount of elevation towards turn 1, 2, and 3. So I've got to say, it is a couple of different drives. 16 turns, of course, as you can see, 2 DRS zones down the pit straight, and a much shorter DRS zone down that back straight. Down that main straight, I should really say. So quite interesting there. Here is the calendar for the season ahead. We come to China for the opening race. We then go to Austria next week, then Imola, then Great Britain, then Australia before we take our break over Christmas. Then we return for Singapore, Monza, Brazil, Netherlands, Las Vegas, and Japan to end off the season. So we've got a very full calendar. I've got to say, we've got a very full calendar ahead of us. And it's looking very interesting for this season as well. It's looking incredibly interesting for this season. I think a lot of people think it's going to be a difficult calendar to get through without many problems. I do agree. I do think it's going to be very difficult. I do agree with a lot of people that it is going to be a rather interesting. It is going to be a rather interesting season ahead of us. I think a lot of people agree on that. But we're almost ready to get going in the next minute or two. So hopefully we will get going very, very shortly. Because it'd be really nice if we could get going very soon. We're just waiting on, I think, one more driver. I think we're just waiting on one more driver now. Which is good, because we'll be getting going in about 2 minutes' time. We'll get going. We've got almost everybody on the grid now. We've got pretty much everyone. We're just missing one driver, and that one driver is... Who is it that is missing? It is a Sauber. It is a VTX that is missing at the moment. It is a VTX that's missing right now. And that's Julian Vettel who's missing, but we'll be waiting. So, we'll be getting going very shortly. But I've got to say, we've got a very interesting season ahead. So let me just walk you through the teams that we've got for this season. I know I haven't got a graphic for this, and I do apologise. But we will, of course, have standings ready for next week, so you guys will be able to see then. So, in the lovely, we'll go in constructors order of real life. In McLaren, we have LR. Then, in that lovely Mercedes, we have EVR. Then in the Red Bull, we have FR, which was previously known as TFR. I know I've still got the roll on the TFR, but FR. Then we have the lovely team of TMS in the Ferraris. Then we've got SKG in the Williams. Then we've got, Aston Martin with OMB in that. Then SET in the RB. Then, of course, we've got... VTX in the Sauber, UFRT in the Haas, and then finally, lastly, AERT in the Alpine. We've got 19 out of the 20 drivers in. We'll be readying up now, so let's get going. For this first race of the season. I'm very excited. I think, as you can probably tell, I'm incredibly excited. So, we've got a very interesting season ahead. It's 11 races, remember, guys. 11 races. First race of 11, and we come to China for the first race of 11 as well. So, we're coming to a difficult track straight away to just start off the season. And for some of the new teams joining in to this season, they're going to have a very interesting one. But, you know, just looking at the calendar here, you got China, difficult track. You've got Imola, quite difficult for track limits. Same as Austria as well, very difficult for track limits. You've got Singapore in there, incredibly difficult. I've got to put the Netherlands in there. I've also got to put in Las Vegas for its walls and Japan for its curbs. Like 7 out of the 11 races are difficult races, and we are finally in once OBS decides to show you guys the beautiful track for this week. So, as you can see, it is China, and it is going to be I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. Qualifying to start with, 18 minutes for qualifying. That's what they've got. They've got 18 minutes for the whole of qualifying, which is going to be interesting. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. I've just got to let me quickly double check all of the settings, because I might be really stupid and not do that. Rules of flags, immersive. That's all correct. Yep, that's all correct. My apologies, everyone. I just had to double check that I had everything right. So, we've got some cars coming out onto the track already, and that is Alexander Esposito as the first driver onto the track for Season 6 in assists. First driver out, and it is, of course, the lovely team of FR that's starting out. A little bit of lag from Alexander, so little bits of lag coming off of the RB. So we'll have to see whether that keeps up or not. But so far, it's going to be a very interesting week, I do believe. I think we're going to have a very interesting first race. It's a difficult first race to start with. Of course, for some of these guys, it's going to be a very difficult race for some to start with. You know, just to already just start the season with China. It is a very tough track, of course. You've got to be good at China. You've got to be good at the tracks like this. But it's going to be very interesting to see. I think we do have... it is an EVR that's behind him. It is Frozen who's behind him, who, of course, has a proven track record in assists, here in FRLT. He's got a proven track record. I think he's got a couple of wins. He was at SET, I believe, long ago, if I'm correct. Or he was with the EVR, I can't remember. Bro, I can't remember this stuff anymore. I swear to God, I can't remember. But let's get underway. Riding on board with Alexander Esposito. Let's see how he's going to do as he makes his way to start off the first flying lap of Season 6 assists. Heading down towards Turn 1 he goes. Through Turn 1, throwing the car in. You can see the understeer of the car just trying to drag itself out further, wider and wider. But so far, the RB complies quite nicely, but not on the curb. It does not comply at all on that curb. He loses the rear completely there. And already not the best of starts for SET so far. Not the best of starts for that Racing Bulls car. Not so great to start off with as he makes his way round. Through the long left, flat out through here, through the long right. The Aston Martin getting massively out of the way there, which is quite good. Taking to that runoff. Very good idea and a decision to make. And through and out of the middle sector goes Alexander with a 52.037. Is that middle sector over the curb, launching right over that curb through the left-hander. Now through the long right-hander, you can lose grip quite easily through here. But that RB sticks to the ground very well. I've got to say, the RB, that one bit on the curb was the only struggle that car's had throughout this lap. Draining the battery down this main straight with the DRS, braking at the 100-meter board. You've got to turn in hard, getting that apex quite nicely. Gone for a little bit of a deeper line instead, but now heading up to the final corner. Now you've got to get this corner right. You can get done for track limits quite easily, but he takes it easy through the final corner and up to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 32.018 to start off this season's lap times, and it's a very, very interesting lap time as well. But coming through the final corner is Frozen. He's not far behind, but he's had a very slow lap, and I think he's going for another lap. Yes, he is. He's got enough fuel to go for another lap anyway. As Hasho beats that lap time to a 31.843. And it is, of course, the team of TMS showing their pace. But LK immediately beats that to a 31.6. We saw Jack slide into fourth there. It's now Jerry Weiss goes P1, 31.5, setting a good time. Kimi goes P7. We see Parker go into P4. And I think we just saw Sir with Face go into P5. There goes Pesci! 18 thousandths behind, but he goes P2 on the grid. Konami goes P11. Marvin, P3 on the grid. FR showing some pace already to start off their season. We got TMS Nemi, who's making his way around. He went a bit quicker in that middle sector than Alexander, so we'll have to see where does he go when he crosses the line. He goes P2! 8 thousandths through. 8 thousandths behind. He just misses out, but incredibly close as AERT Tom goes P4. Very strong lap as Pascal Gill goes into P1, 31.476. Finds less than a 10th over Jerry Weiss. But I've got to say, it is incredibly close. His teammate David only went P8 in the grid, but you can see it's very mixed at the moment throughout. It's OMB on provisional pole, fastest in the first run. Jerry Weiss very close behind, followed by Nemi even closer. And Pesci and Tom and Marvin all within the 31.5, including Pascal from that. Then we got LK, who's just a bit further behind on his own in the 31.6s. David in the 31.7s as well on his own. Then we've got a couple of closer drivers, Hasho, we've got Parker. So far, not the best of starts for EVR. Not the best of starts for them. P11 and P17 so far to start off their session. Of course, they were second in the Constructors, but SET as well, not getting away well from those first few runs. Well, from that first run, really. P13 and P16 as Kaname crosses the line. I think he's going for another lap. Yes, he is. But not a good start to their season so far. Bit of a tough one there. Not exactly what you want. Not exactly what you want there from the team that finished third. By the way, these guys won the Constructors at no assists last season, and they finished third last season in assists. And yet somehow they have had a really poor start to their season. Both drivers outside of the top 10, outside of the top 12. For the first run. Let's see through this middle sector. Again, the RB looks stuck to the ground, but the other car's just making a bit more of it at the moment. They're over half a second, with Alexander's over half a second off of provisional pole. I think we just saw Nico Rassenberg go P9. Kaname's only up by 13 thousandths in this middle sector, so he's not finding a lot of time. It does look like SET bit off for the pace to start off this season. They were saying about, at the end of last season, they were saying about going for that number one place and going for, of course, that first in the championship, becoming champions of assists as well. Their seasons have gotten better and better since season number 4. Their seasons have gotten better and better. They've gone from being at the back of the grid in season 4, at the start of season 4, pushing their way through as Kaname makes his way in. But now it's becoming a little bit of a reverse effect, I'd say, for these guys. Kimi is the first out for their second runs, but it seems like SET have taken maybe. I'm not gonna, of course, say until the race is over, but at the moment, based off of this start, it looks like SET have taken a bit of a step back. P14 and P17 now in the grid. That's not a good first run. Last season, they were already up in the top 10 after their first run, so it looks like they've fallen off a little bit, fallen a little bit further behind, but a couple of teams are having a tough first few laps. EVR, they've got one driver up there, one driver at the back. EVR as well in that mix in the lower sections, but it's very close at the moment in the grid. Quite a few drivers in the 0.8s, 0.7s. Very mixed grid at the moment, but I've got to say, good start from OMB and LR and FR as well, all coming in with a solid start. Quite close, but Kimi is going to be the first driver to get some laps underway. So let's watch as he goes on his way, on his lap. He's P16 at the moment. He needs a big improvement on his lap. He needs to find 0.2 of a second just to go to P15. So he needs to find a lot of time in his lap now. So maybe a mistake was made, but we saw with Alexander, quite a big mistake was made through the corner that Kimi just went past, and he's down in P14. So he lost a bit of time. Let's see, that first sector, is he improving? He's actually down by 29 thousandths in the first sector for Kimi as he makes his way round now towards the fastest corners on the circuit. Through the left. And through the right. Now, whoa! And the rear gets away from Kimi there. And that is the end of that lap for himself. I think the next driver to come around is Frozen, who's pushing hard on his lap. He's very much pushing hard at the moment. Up by 4.2 seconds, so already finding lap time. Of course, he was pushing already up to this point, so he's already going to find himself into about 36. And making his way round and down the main straight and down this long straight. Of course, that DRS zone getting shorter and shorter every single year, that I cannot believe why it keeps on getting shorter, but down into the hairpin now, hard braking, you've got to get the car turned in, and that Mercedes looks stuck to the ground. Looks like that front end is just coping with whatever Frozen puts through it, and heading up to the line now. Where does Frozen go? He goes fastest of all to a 31.025. What a lap from Frozen. Massive respect for that lap. That was absolutely brilliant. I did not expect to be seeing such a lap time already. I was actually not expecting that right now, as Marvin goes to a 31.1. So he's finding quite a bit of time. A couple of drivers finding a lot of time at the moment. I think we've got Pesci making his way around. He's down by 83 thousandths in his middle sector, so he's not finding that time so far. Let's see, is it the final sector where he's lost most of his time? No, it's not. He's still down by 72 thousandths, and that is his lap done. I think we've got Rick coming up to the line. He can only go P17. All drivers have now done a lap, but P17, and that's a bit of disappointment. A bit of pill to swallow there, as Hasho makes his way up to the line. He improves by 24 thousandths, but stays P11, so no improvement. But there goes Parker to P3. 31.445 is his time. We've got Alexander who's coming round. He's invalidated his lap. He would have improved by 4 tenths, so he would have gone easily into top 9. I think we just saw, who was that just jumped up the order? That was a Ferrari. Wherever I see a Ferrari, that was Nemi, who just jumped up the order massively to P3. He's into a 31.3, so quite a few drivers putting in some decent lap times at the moment. LK did not put in a decent lap time, and Jerry Weiss on his way in. LR, of course, were quickest in the qualifiers. They went number 1, so it was an interesting qualifiers. Different team from what a lot of people expected to be quickest. As there goes Trosh, who jumps to P10 now and pushes David down to that bottom 10, or bottom 9, I should really say. I think we just saw Kaname improve to P14, still not finding that pace, even with half a second found. Still not the pace he needed to find. So a bit of a disappointing one there for himself. I'm looking around. I think we've got Nico Rassenberg on lap at the moment, up by 3.5 tenths of a second. He goes P2! Exactly 100th behind Frozen, but he just misses out on taking that provisional pole. He just doesn't get it at the line. But it's currently P2 and P3 for FR, so I wouldn't say it's a bad start. I've got to say, it's very interesting to see. I did not think we were going to see that sort of lap time, but we got Jack making his way around now. Of course, for the team of VTX, and across the line he goes P12. He's the only driver currently who is driving for VTX this evening and needs a big finish. Of course, remember the point system also changed for this season, so the point system is now the top 14 if I remember correctly. I'm gonna actually have to bring up the rules on my phone because I've absolutely forgotten them the one weekend that I should be remembering them. Trosh P11 though, so an interesting lap for himself. I don't think there's anyone on a lap, but there is somebody on an out lap, and that is Frozen. Man on pole already. On his way out. Already on his way out, and making his way to the... Already making his way for his final run of this race. Yes, so basically, this is how it goes. It is the top 13. P1 gets 18 points, then it's 15, 13, 11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down to P13. That's from P1 to P13. 1 point for pole, and also 1 point for fast lap, but only to the top 10. So only the top 10 can get that fastest lap point. So still needing to get in there. There is also a penalty point system this season as well. So I had to scroll through, but yeah. But let's ride on board with Frozen on his lap. Fastest man out on track currently by just 100th of a second. And he's going to have a little bit of traffic, I'd say, towards the end of his lap. I do think he is going to face a little bit of traffic. But he's on his way for his final lap. 2.5 minutes left of qualifying here in China. Make his way through. He's gone for that wider line, not able to get the turn in. The Mercedes just not turning in there, not very obedient through this first section, through the snail section there. Now, making his way up towards the end, and he is backed off already. He already knows that was not good enough for himself. He should have enough fuel for another lap. I'm not sure if he does or if he doesn't, so we'll have to wait and see whether he will be going for another lap this evening. We do have a Haas that's the first out, and it's Kimi once again. He's very closely followed by the TMS drivers behind him of Nemi and Hasho, who are behind, and then I believe it is Jerry Weiss as well. It is, who's right behind. 4 drivers already, all very close to each other. You can see the Ferrari slowing down as Jerry Weiss wants to get on with his lap sooner rather than later. So let's watch Kimi on his lap as he makes his way round for one final time. 1 minute 20 left on the clock, and I've just seen a Sauber. That is, of course, a VTX driver just come out of the pits, so we're going to have to see whether he's going to be able to make it round in time. But making his way, Kimi heading down towards turn 1, throwing it through. You can see the car just absolutely taking every bit of steering. Very, very different compared to the Mercedes, of course, we saw with Frozen. Very, very different compared to Frozen. Just that Haas just turning in perfectly when he needed it to. He's up by 22 thousandths as well, showing that little bit of lap time. But he's gone a bit deep into the right-hander, and that's not what you need to get into the start of the middle sector. That's really bad. You can just see the Haas going quite nicely. Struggling a little bit at times. You can see it's just not getting exactly all the turning he needs. Yes, I do know the link for Discord doesn't work. I will update that in the break between the race and between qualifying and the race. I will update that. So if you just hang on for a few minutes, I will update that, and I do apologize. It's just, I don't know why it's not working. It just, after a week, it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't matter what I do to the code. It just doesn't work after a week. So I will fix it. But heading down, qualifying is now over. Jack did not make it to the line, by the way. He just missed out. So we're already down to 18 drivers who can complete a lap. Heading round the hairpin, what can Kimi do? As he makes his way up towards the left-hander, he throws the car through and over... Oh, what is it? A validation for Kimi. He was up by 3 tenths as well, so he will stay last at the moment. Hasho across the line. He goes P9. Then we've got Jerry Weiss. Jerry Weiss jumps to P3 and onto the second row. So an absolutely incredible lap from himself. Then we're looking to the next driver. It is going to be Rick. He's up by 2 tenths in that middle sector. Let's see, what does he do in this final sector? Is it going to be enough? Across the line, he goes to P16. He finds a bit of time, but it's not the time that he needed. Pesci as well is up by about 1/10 of a second in that middle sector. And across the line, it is P5 from Pesci. Frozen does not improve on his lap. He's going to stay on provisional pole. We've just seen Kaname finish in P15. I think he invalidated his lap. Tom goes P7 and a strong lap for himself. A So with face just replaces that lap time there. And you can see Parker finishes P9. He doesn't find the time he needs. Neither does Pascal Gill. But his teammate David does and goes P8 and a very strong lap. Marvin doesn't find the time. And we've got drivers everywhere crossing the line. LK just went P12. And now Alexander Esposito goes P11 with a lap time that he very much needed. But Nico Rassenberg is done. And he's finished his qualifying. And that is that. And it is Frozen on pole position this evening for EVR, and it is a brilliant pole. But that top 5, the fact that we got 1, 2, 3, we got 4 teams in the top 5, absolutely crazy. We got 6 teams in the top 7. I cannot believe that. 6 teams in the top 7, 7 teams in the top 8, absolutely crazy. I cannot believe that. Very mixed qualifying for some teams. Some teams have one driver really high and another driver really low. Very, very interesting. But let's have a look. It is Frozen on pole by just 100th of a second, followed by Nico Rassenberg, Jerry Weiss, Marvin, Pesci, Nemi, So with Face, David, Tom, Parker, Alexander Esposito, Pascal Gill, LK, Hasho, Trosh, Jack, Kaname, Rick, and Kimmy. And that is everyone done. And now I need to sort an invite for the server. Give me 2 seconds. I will do that now. I will do that right away. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, let me just sort everything. So I do apologise, just give me 2 seconds and I will have that ready. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes for me to yap and to also sort out this link because I don't know why it's not working again this week. So my biggest apologies to you guys for, again, it not working. It just never seems to work for me. But it should now. I've updated it. It's saved. It's saved, so it should be changed. So if you want to join through the link, it does work now. So I do apologise to absolutely everybody for that. But we'll be readying up in about 3 minutes' time. So looking at the grid for this evening, I've got to say it's incredibly mixed. I have no words for how that went, to be honest, because I mean, LR, decent performance. One drive, though, P12. LK struggled after that first run. Jerry Weiss, though, up there in the top 4. You've got, I think, FR doing quite considerably well. Strongest, I think, so far. In qualifying-wise, I think FR came out strongest there. EVR with a bit of an up-down session. Same as AERT. I think OMB as well got unlucky on that final run. UFRT, I mean, Pesci coming in, really surprising me with his final lap to go P5. Very much surprised with that. I've got to say, it's a very mixed sort of lobby, I'd say. Very mixed race and qualifying that we saw. I think no team really came out. I think no team was perfect. I don't think any team was particularly strongest. I think FR, I think, have just gapped the grid just slightly, I'd say. Not by a huge amount. I think maybe by 2/10 overall in pace. Just from their drivers being, of course, 2nd and 4th. I think that's really where it's come from. It's just their drivers being so close. That's the only reason why they're ahead, I'd say, out of the first qualifying. Outside of that, it's not bad. Looking at everyone else, though, I mean, TMS put in an all-right qualifying session. Struggles, though, from SET. Massive struggles. Team that finished 3rd in the Constructors last season just can't find that top 10. Can't even find the top 10 in this first race. Of course, it's the first race of 11, so you've got to give teams some time. But still, a bit of a struggle from them. I know UFRT have one driver who hasn't had any practice for this race, so Kimi got no practice. He didn't have any time to practice. So sadly, it's meant that he's now dropped back there. He's at the back while his teammate fighting at the front for possibly a podium or even the win. OMB look a little bit shook, maybe, after those first runs. They looked like they were the best team on track, then kind of just fell off and fell away, just kind of in the second and third runs. Yeah, interesting grid. Compared to last season, it's very much flipped on its head. You know, as that first session, sort of EVR, AERT, OMB, SCT, not where they usually are. Same with SKG, not sort of, usually we'd see at least 3 drivers from EVR, SKG, and SCT inside of that top 6. But this week, to start a season with the 3 teams that very much dominated last season not being there, is interesting to see. It's, you know, you don't see that often. Usually you see sort of everybody's pretty equal in their performance. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, because this is going to be a very interesting race ahead of us. Of course, it is China and a very tough track, very tough on tyre wear, but I can hear that we're about to get going. Here we are for the opening race of FRLT Season 6 assists, and it's 5 red lights, and away we go. It's very quick at the lights. Frozen gets away decently well, bit of sliding off of the rear. You can already see Jerry Weiss attacking Nico Rassenberg into turn 1 as Frozen leads away through the snail section. You can see some drivers going very wide. Pesci battling with Nemi further back. Jerry Weiss battling with Marvin as well. FR really trying to push their way up the field, but you can see the grip is incredibly low. The track must feel like an absolute ice rink out there, as we could just see the cars just sliding everywhere on the rear. And there goes Marvin down the inside of Jerry Weiss. Some big battling happening further back. We've got a lot of battling that's happening further back. As we see, look at this, Jerry Weiss having a good old battle with Marvin side by side through the long left, through the long right. Who's going to come out on top here? It is Marvin, who just jumps in front of the LR driver. And that's a good start from FR. Exactly what they needed off of this race start. But, oh, the massive slide almost in the wall. I've seen drivers before put it in the wall there, and we've seen it in real life almost happen there. You can see also further back, LK also making up a couple of places off of that start. So actually a pretty decent start. Kimi battling over position. He's just gotten ahead of Trosh and Rick. So not too bad for the start of his race. You can see some drivers jumping up the order. Some drivers haven't. You can see Marvin up 1. We've got a bit of battling happening further back, I do believe. That's Pascal Gill, who's having a bit of a battle with Alexander. But we've also got a battle over P7 here between the 2 drivers of Sir with Face and Parker. But Parker ends up losing out there. But he's still up 2 places off of the race start, and a good start altogether. Tyres, mediums from almost everyone, except for, of course, David, Tom, Pascal Gill, Hasho, Kaname, Kimi, and Trosh, as Parker makes his way past in a very swift and nice move past Sir with Face. Up to P7 he goes, and up another place off of that race start. But it's been a great start from Frozen. EVR really hoping to capture a win to start off their season, of course. They'd love to capture a win to start off their season, and that's exactly the way they want it to go. But as it stands, it would be FR leading the Constructors' Championship out of round 1. A brand new Constructors' Championship leader. We've had it in the past couple of seasons. Last season we had a new Constructors' Championship leader out of round 1 to lead. We also had it back in Season 2. So we've had it twice now. Are we going to have it a third time in assists to have a new team in FRLT lead the championship? You can see it's been a bit of a tough lap for Marvin. Further back, he's dropped back. Kimi as well, just dropped a place behind Rick. Back down to P18. See, Marvin has just been gapped as well. He's just over a second behind the top 2. So he's struggling a little bit to keep up with the pace. We know Frozen and Nico Rassenberg are very much quicker than the rest of the grid. It looks like a bit of a Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton 2021 kind of race, possibly, as now Marvin is over a second behind, and he's going to be under attack from Jerry Weiss very, very soon. Of course, DRS now enabled. It is pushing all the way. But still, we can see that LR struggling a bit with this first few corners. You've also got to remember that looking at it from also the other perspective, being behind a car, having that dirty air. We talk about dirty air, but it's not stopping Jack having a good battle with Hasher, of course. These are the positions that are just outside of the top 10, by the way. These 6 places are just outside of the top 10, so the more battling these guys do, you can see they've already dropped to over a second behind P13 and the last points paying position. So it's all up to them now to get it back up into that top 13. It allows more drivers to get points. But again, tyres-wise, mediums for mostly everyone. All of the top 8 on the mediums. Pretty much almost everyone is on the mediums, except the drivers starting outside the top 11. Or most of them on hards. 6 drivers on the hards outside the top 11 and 1 on the hards inside of the top 10. So, very different. No penalties so far. Good start. No crashes either, which is a first out of the first race. But here comes Nico Rassenberg. But here comes Jerry Weiss as well at the same time, who climbs up to P3. But I've got to say, quiet, but good start from Pesci, who's held on to P5 through that attack from Nemi. And he's done quite well to hold on to this P5 position as he's gotten it. But we've got to look to the front. It is Frozen versus Nico Rassenberg. Will Nico Rassenberg take the lead of the race side by side through the snail section? He just jumps in front. And in the end, Nico Rassenberg is the lead of the race here on lap 4. And for the first time, FR lead a race as he slows down. And I think is he letting by Frozen, and he's let back past Frozen. I'm not sure what's happened there. I'm not sure whether he's felt that maybe he didn't do the right sort of move there to get past. Or maybe he's waiting for the DRS once again. Maybe working together a bit with the DRS. Who knows? But they are getting away from Jerry Weiss. 1.5 seconds now ahead of third place. They're very much breaking off into a world of their own. So we might be looking at a two-way fight for the win. But the podium is the place to look, because there's pretty much almost every single team in contention. P14 is now fully broken away. Hasho got past Jack as well once again, and he's pulling away from Jack. So it looks like, sadly, it looks like VTX on their debut aren't going to be getting any points this evening. So it's looking like a bit of a tough one. But Nico Rassenberg now makes his way past and up into the lead as he goes past. Looking at everything. Oh, there's another battle going on. I was just going to have a look at the position changes, but there goes Jack, who's battling with Hasho once again. Marvin gets a 3-second time penalty. That's going to hurt him a lot, and that's going to drop him outside of the top 10. So he's going to be losing huge amounts of points for that, and so FR might just be losing their championship lead at the moment. Looking around, position changes. Great start from Parker, who's really jumped up a good amount of places. He's just jumped up to P7. He's up 3 places. But not a lot of changes outside of that. We saw Trosh go back, though, 3 places, so not too great for himself, for SKG, not having the best of days. One teammate gains 3 places, the other loses 3. So at the moment, only on for that P7 finish. Only penalty on the grid still is, of course, Marvin. With that 3-second time penalty, he's just gotten his penalty. Looking at the mediums, though, looking at the tyres, and the strategy, I'm very much feeling that the medium tyres are only going to last maybe till about lap 10, maybe lap 12. I think they're only going to last till, at most, probably lap 12 in this race. So then it's going to be swapping to the mediums, not to the mediums, to the hards, sorry, for 16 laps at least. Maybe going to 18 laps. So we'll have to see how long these mediums go for, because Frozen's actually just dropped a huge chunk of time to Jerry Weiss, who's closed up by about 3/10 in the last lap. So it's changed a little bit. Pesci going for a move, though, on Marvin. Has Marvin gone a bit deep? Has he gone a little bit deep? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But in the end, it's still ahead is Marvin. Whoa, and a massive slide again. Massive mistake. See, Pesci's used almost all of his battery. He has now used all of his batteries. He pulls past with the DRS and up into P4. There goes Nemi as well, who's pushing for the position. Of course, Marvin has that penalty as Kimi also gets a 3-second time penalty, but he's dropped off of the pack and he's down in last and on his own. now in 19th. But looking around, you can see, look at this! Nemi can't get past Marvin because Marvin's got that good positioning. And now we look to Parker, who sends it down the inside on Marvin. Marvin just dropping back in places more and more. Whoa! Massive slide, almost taking out Nemi while he's at it. But Parker's also made up another place as well. I've just noticed that. He's just gotten past Nemi for P6. So Parker really pushing up the order. SKG still showing they've got a bit of that overtaking power. Of course, last season's champions. Then, oh, Rick, he's gone off track. He's had a spin. It looks like he's had quite a big spin. Is there wing damage to that Alpine? No, there isn't. And it just looks like he's just gone off there. And that is his day done. We can see the gap starting to open up. Marvin's dropped back because he's under severe attack from Parker, who's coming at him once again, this time with the DRS, as Marvin doesn't have the DRS as he goes past. Now we look to Nemi, who also wants to make the move. He goes to make the move down the inside. In the end, Marvin doesn't dive it, but he's gone deep, and that's allowed Nemi to attack back. And there goes Nemi into P6 and past Marvin. Marvin now struggling and dropping back through the order. It's a very big struggle at the moment from the team of FR. One driver going back, and oh, it looks like another position's going to be gone. So with Face trying to give the squeeze to him, but in the end, it's not able to work, and Marvin drops down to P8 and already down 3 places in the space of half a lap. This race is going backwards, and at this rate, he will finish P13 and possibly even outside of the top 13 and with no points. So it's looking like a very tough race as he's under attack again. Whoa, lock up and contact with David there, and that's not good. And now there's going to be a lot more battling going on because once again Marvin's dropping outside of DRS of Cert with Face, and he's getting a bit far behind. So we're going to have to see how it goes as Marvin tries to hold on to his P8, and the driver of David, if I can reach him, is chasing behind. He wants those extra points. He wants to climb up that extra point or two. He wants to get those extra couple of points. He wants to get up further in the championship because, of course, at the moment they're only P9, P12. P12, of course, I know is 2 points. I have not memorized the point system, but P12, 2 points. They're not getting many more. I think they're only going to be getting 5 points from P9. So for David here, you know, only 7 points out of the first race. It's not looking like a strong start for OMB, but they're pushing hard and they're looking for the positions they need. Of course, they took pole this time last season. They also got a 1-2 finish in round 2 in Belgium, but it does not look like the same sort of finish they're going to be having this week at least. They finished, I think, P6 and P7 in the opening race of last season. Does not look like they're going to be getting there at the moment unless they find some massive amounts of pace and a good amount of ERS. But you can see now the leaders playing quite nicely at the front, not battling over positions too much, just sitting there waiting to make their move, just playing the tyre game. I think they're very much just working together so they don't lose time. They're now 2 seconds ahead of Jerry Weiss. You can just see he's just starting to lose touch with the front too. He's losing quite a bit of touch now, and Pesci further 1.3 seconds behind. So we have got over 3 seconds, almost 3.5 seconds from P1 to P4 now. So it's getting quite large there. Parker, though, on an absolute stonker of a day, I've got to say, he's putting in an absolute drive tonight, up 5 places from the start of the race. Qualified P10, P5 now. He could be in for a chance of a podium with the pace that he's got. SKG looking for a very much uncertain podium finish that I don't think Parker would have thought he'd be getting, but maybe he did. Who knows? But so far, it is working as David now finally overtakes Marvin for position as he makes his way up. But you've got to look behind. David just loses out again. But Pascal Gill, though, jumps up a place because LK comes into pits, and it's the first pit stop of the evening as LK makes his way in. What is he going for? He feels it's the hard tyres. He feels it's time for the hard tyres. And on lap 9, he swaps over to those white-coloured hard tyres. And he wants that durability. He wants these tyres to last. So we're going to have to see how it goes. But Frozen, making his way round. He's holding on to this lead quite nicely. He's having a good battle with Nico Rassenberg. They're working together. They're pulling further and further away. Another about half a second this lap. Half a second, 7/10, growing more and more every single corner, that they're just getting further and further away. Which is quite interesting in this race, to be honest. But Parker, even though nobody else is really closing up to anyone, it's Parker who's closed up to Jerry Weiss, because he's now within a second, and that's going to give him a chance at DRS. So he makes his way down this main straight. Of course, the DRS is so much further along than before, but now he's got that DRS. So does Pesci, so does Nemi, so does Sir with Face, David, Marvin, Tom, everyone else, as I think we're seeing Tom making a move now on Marvin for P9 on those hard tyres. The tyres starting to feel better, and you can just see he's just getting the extra grip. And there goes Tom up into P9 as Parker now, by the way, makes the move as Jerry Weiss joins with his teammate going in that one lap later, as he now switches to the hard tyres, going on to lap number 10, where he just passed that, of course, third in the race. We've gone past a third of the way into tonight's race. We've got Marvin, who's also come in, by the way. He's also come in for the hard tyres. So he was, of course, struggling quite a bit. But where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out? He comes out far behind LK. So that overcut has not worked against the other LR drivers. So at the moment, he's definitely dropped back a couple of places. You can see now Parker sits 4 seconds behind the top two, with Frozen, Nico Rassenberg at the front, then Parker, then Pesci, then Nemi, Sir with Face, David, Tom, Pascal Gill, and Kaname being your top 10. SET having a bit of a comeback this evening. Definitely having a bit of a comeback now. On for lovely 7 points this evening. So they were on for a decent amount of points. 7 points to start off their season. Wouldn't be too bad. Nowhere close to where they were at the start of last season. But they're still there at least. We see another swap for the lead. But here comes Kaname on Pascal Gill. Is he going to make that move? We see David's making the move for P6. Will Kaname get the move? He will get the move done. Almost. I see a massive lockup on that front right, but he does get the move done. Of course, on the hard tyres, going longer into the race. I think very much the same as his teammate. No, his teammate was on the medium tyres as he now actually comes in. So, perfect timing. His teammate feeling like the overcut is not the way to go, and going much longer on these tyres won't work. As we see Kimi now goes past. But we know Alexander Esposito and his teammate Kaname have both been struggling a bit this evening to find track position, to find pace. So where is Alexander Esposito going to come out? Looks like he's going to come out just behind the driver of Marvin. So there is quite a big deficit in time. It looks like there's a good 3-4 second deficit at the moment. This is where the gap is going to start to build. But we can see Parker is really struggling. He's struggling quite a bit on his mediums. He is closing up to Frozen. But he's struggling because even the drivers behind him are starting to get closer to him than before. And everybody's just going a little bit crazy at the moment. Everybody's not crazy, but it's more crazy in strategy, that it's the questioning yourself for whether you want to go for the... You want to stop earlier, you want to stop later. What do you want to do? And at the moment, I think some teams are still debating what they want to do. As we can see, Frozen now pushing for the lead of the race as he makes his way back up into the lead. Massive lockup, of course, on those medium tyres. They're getting really worn now. But the big question is, I think a lot of people are following what the leaders are doing. And whatever the leaders do will be whatever the rest do. Because you can see, but no, it's not, because Parker doesn't feel that way. Neither does the two cars behind him of Pesci or Nemi. They don't feel like that's the same thing there. They feel like they should come in. Same for Jack as well. All of these guys coming in for their stops. Let's see, how does Parker's stop go? Where does he drop down to? So he just pulls into the pits now, onto the hard tyres. Does he get out in front of these others? That's the big question. Does he get out in front of the others? He does get out almost in front of Marvin. Can he stay out in front of Marvin? He just about can. He's given Marvin a bit of a problem, but he leaves him room. But in the end, he has just stayed in front of Marvin, so Pesci has lost out a place there. But of course, Marvin just has that penalty. Whoa, a little bit aggressive there from Marvin. We know he isn't as quick as Pesci. Oh, again, bit of a nudge there. The cold tyres not working out too well. But I have a question to everyone. Do we think LR have actually done a really good job with the strategy? Boxing LK, boxing Jerry Weiss, coming in when they did. Yes, having to sustain that extra bit of tyre wear, but they have done a massive undercut on a couple of people. As Tom now makes his way up into P4, he's actually having a quiet but very strong race so far. He's very much on his own in this race. AERT not coming out perfect out of this first race. As now the leaders come into the pits, both Nico Rassenberg and Frozen now pull up into the pits as David now leads away. So with Face also comes in with EVR going for the double stop. They're going for the double stop to start off this evening. Interesting double stop. Does he lose a lot of time? He didn't lose too much time, I don't believe. So it's okay for Sir with Face. We know the leaders are going to come out perfectly fine. Not really. I don't think they're under attack, really. No, neither of them are under attack. They've come out behind Kimi, though. So that just shows how much of an undercut, how powerful it is. So maybe OMB risking their race. Same as SCT as well, risking their race a bit. Down in P16 with Alexander. But still, they've got Kaname yet to come in. He does have to come in. I think it's too early. It's too early. Interesting call. To some degree, I do agree with you. It's too early. I think if the mediums can last, I think if the mediums are really going off at this point and just kind of gone, I am questioning whether the hards will make it. It's difficult. I don't think LR are going to come away smoothly from this. I don't think they're going to come away smoothly. Now Nico Rassenberg makes his way past Kimi, and now Frozen is trying to follow through with that as well, and he does. And he also gets past. It's vital for him to keep up with, of course, Nico Rassenberg, because if he loses out here, he's going to lose out the chance to win. But yeah, I think for LR, they're going to lose out on tyre wear. That was my only thought. Was, you know, they've pulled a good strategy and they pulled a really good undercut. But you can see now drivers like Parker sending it up the inside just because he's got that little bit of extra. He's got that little bit less tyre wears. Now Rick retires, and that first retirement of the evening comes from the team of AERT. So unlucky to start their season, very unlucky. But look at this, 3 wide, Jerry Weiss, Kimi and Parker all going at it. Oh my god, oh, Kimi goes round, half spin. He goes off with contact from Jerry Weiss as he drops down to P15 on those very old hard tyres. But he's just dropping through the order. I think it was going to happen anyway, but he's very much struggling, and you can see he's about to drop another place down to P16. But Alexander Esposito trying to keep a respectful move being made, so he's just waiting, but he's getting stuck massively behind Kimi, and he's now over a second behind. So now he makes his way past, but he's just lost out massively because of that. But that might bite him in the future. But there goes Parker on Jerry Weiss. He makes his way past those. The LRs just seem like sitting ducks a little bit now. Just not really being able to battle too much. You can see LK on those older hard tyres, just not being able to really make a move as Hasho makes his way past Pascal Gill. Now, Alexander Esposito makes his way past into P15, and it's a good move. But looking at the tyres, everyone's on hard tyres. Top 6, on old hard tyres. The rest are on fresh, except Kimi. But you can see Nemi battling with Pesci over position. Again, important, but you know, you can see LR, they're on 5 lap holds and 6 lap holds, same as Marvin on that sort of 5 lap hold area. That's just too old. Then they're going to really struggle at the end. And you can see they're already, drivers like LK are already struggling because already LK down to P12. And Nemi's there, Nemi is there, side by side, through a crucial moment, side by side with each other. And can LK hold on to it, or will Pesci make his way past? Whoa, getting very close. Very, very close to getting spun there for Pesci, but down the inside. Has Pesci gotten it? Has he? No, he's not, because LK is still there. This is brilliant. But in the end, it is Pesci who makes his way past, but he's dropped a lot of time and dropped outside of that second of DRS. Is he going to have DRS? No, he's not. He's not even going to have DRS. So he has lost out that pace to the next group. So at the moment, he will get up to P12, but that's it. As now, Tom makes his way into P1, AERT, wanting to get maybe a lap or two in the lead this evening. They want to, if they can't win, they want to get a couple of laps as Kimi gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. We might be seeing retirement from Kimi this evening. Who knows? I think he is on his way into the pits, so it looks like we'll be seeing a second retirement of the evening. UFRT not having the best of starts, but still relatively okay to start off their season. As we can see, Trosh battling with Pascal Gill over P5 there. And there he goes, up into the top 5. SKG still pushing for their chances to get a good finish. Parker, of course, in there. Trosh, not so much. But we've got to talk about this gap, though, that is coming down very quickly. 6.5 seconds at the moment, and it is just decreasing massively, corner by corner, down to 6.2. It's just getting so much smaller, bit by bit. Every single corner is just massive chunks of time being found. You can see 5.4. 5.4, I think Pascal Gill just made a mistake as well. But look at that, 4 seconds to this front pack. You could see everyone coming down the straight. He could see the leaders as well, so he just knows he's going to get that lead. But his only real battle now is with Frozen at the moment over the provisional race lead, as I think we see Hasho now making his way into the pit, same as Pascal Gill, who's gone for that late stop, of course. We can see already the leaders just flying past. Have they gone a bit late? That's the question. Have they gone a bit too late into the race? Or where are they going to pop out? That's the main question. Where are they going to come out in the grid? Down in P16 and 17. And that gap, 5.4 seconds at the moment between P5 and P4. And that's coming down quite a lot already. So this is going to be quite interesting, actually, to see how much does he close below 5 seconds. As well, the worst part is for Trosh, he's on his own right now. He is on his own, so he's just losing huge chunks of time every corner. So there's no DRS to help him, there's nothing to pull him along. So he is just losing. You can see down to 4.2, another 0.8 in this middle sector found. It's just becoming quite bad at the moment. The gap in the tyres, it's just so clear. Ooh, we saw a little bit there. Nico Rosberg not doing so well, but neither is Frozen. He had a bit of a moment there. Very clearly had a bit of a moment in that Mercedes, because he's just dropped back a little bit, but now he is closing up. He's got that DRS, so he's able to close right back up with ease. Pull away from Parker as well at the same time, but on the hard tyres, everybody's battling. As now David comes in, he feels like it's time. Is he going to be in front of his teammate, though? That's the big question. Will he get in front of his teammate? I'm gonna watch Pascal Gill just for a moment. Hello, Penguin Boy. Welcome to FRLT. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're doing great today. But Pascal Gill, where is he going to come out compared to his teammate? His teammate's on his way out. His teammate has come out, so Pascal Gill was quite far behind his teammate. He was very far behind his teammate. You can see already about a corner behind. So That's quite a big gap, to be fair. So 4 seconds we're looking at. But Nemi had a bit of a moment there. But look at this. 3 wide. Once again, we've seen this a lot of times this race. 3 wide into this left-hander. But Jerry Weiss, he's struggling a huge amount with his tyres now. Of course, they are pretty old. They're older than everyone else's. So we're looking at the tyres. You can see he's on 8-lap-old hards, same as Marvin. LK is on 9-lap-old hards. Then it's Alexander. Nobody else other than that is on fresh hards that are older than that. Only the drivers who haven't stopped, which are the top 3. So, at the moment, Jerry Weiss having a bit of a tough day. They made that strategy call at LR, but they're losing out a bit now. They're very much losing out. Not just a bit, but there goes Jerry Weiss battling a bit more with Marvin over P7. Of course, that penalty is going to hurt Marvin anyway. And it looks like he'll probably drop outside of the top. He'll drop down to P13, I believe, at the moment. You can see a couple of drivers coming in. It's the top 3 who have all come into the pits. So we'll have to see where they come out in the end. Cause there's this huge chunk of drivers who are very close to each other. And they will drop down to P11, P12, and P13. And then they will continue to drop backwards in the grid. I think they're going to actually come out about last. Except for, I think, Tom, who's actually come out in P14. He's not come out too badly there. And there's Kimi, who's had a bit of a moment down the straight as he's down in P18. He's on his own, almost a minute behind the next car. That's not a minute behind the leader. That's a minute behind 17th. So he's having a very tough day as he just drifts his way through corners. He's very much given up. And for UFRT, it's a very tough day to walk away from. I will say that. It's been a very tough day for them to walk away from. Kimi on his way in to end this race, this opening race. UFRT and AERT both being in very much, I'd say, the same boat of having a very tough weekend. For Tom, though, it's an important last sort of sprint to the end. He's very much got to push now because he's P14. He's on the edge of the points. He needs to get past Hasho. He's on fresh mediums. He does need to get past that Ferrari to at least claim 1 point for AERT to start off their season. If you guys don't know, the points changed from, instead of just the top 10 getting points, it's the top 13. First as well increased, First didn't increase points, sorry. There's just a couple of changes in the points system. Fast lap only goes to the top 10 pole as well. Of course, Frozen got pole, so already EVR led the championship already after qualifying by 1 point ahead of everyone else. And so, but now, at the moment, I'm not actually sure who is going to come out in first in the Constructors. I believe, I think it's going to be, I think it will be EVR who will lead at the moment. I think it will be EVR who lead because Marvin will drop down to about P10 after about P9, P10 after his penalty. So we'll have to wait and see. Very much we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. But Frozen's dropping off a little bit. Parker still sitting in this sort of no man's land in between the front 2 and the rest of the pack. Marvin still leading these guys away. Looking through the field. Alexander Esposito. Did not expect to see him in P9. He's had a bit of a rough race he had a rough qualifying. SET had a rough qualifying altogether. At the moment, only one of their drivers will score points. And that is, of course, Alexander. I think he'll be scoring about 5 points by my account. He'll be scoring about 5 points this evening. So for SET, it's for the team that finished third in the Constructors, it's not a good start for them this season. And already it looks like he's going to be dropping another place. He could be dropping down to just scoring 4 points, but those hards, he's on the older set of hards. He stopped earlier, of course, remember, so he gained that earlier position from the undercut, but he's not gained the tyre wear. I've got to say, David as well has picked up the pace a bit on those fresh mediums. He's trying to attack that top 10. He's trying to get some positions here, same as Tom behind, who's also pushing David through the corners. So, very interesting to see what's going on here. Hasho is struggling, though, further back. He's struggling with Jack behind him. He's struggling with Kaname as well. But there goes David down the inside. Contact between multiple drivers as it's actually Alexander Esposito who loses out all the position because he's down to P12. And for SCT, it's disaster to their evening. Down to just 2 points for a long race. Only 2 points for them is just such... Whoa, and a massive slide. You can see just the hard tyres gone on that RB. And it's just, and I really do feel sad for teams when they go from being sort of high up in the championship to just dropping back to it might just be the first race, don't get me wrong, it might just be this track, they might not have, you know, the sort of strongest drivers for this track, who knows, but you know, just seeing that to start off the season is just not where sort of you really want to see a team be. You know, they had ambitions at the start of last season to come straight into this season fighting. Tom battling with Sir with Face as he goes up into P10 now, but yeah, there was ambitions from SEC to be fighting for the championship right out of round 1, and I think we all know that doesn't look like it's going to be happening, as David now makes his way up to P8, and a couple more points, swinging towards ONB's way for this evening. He's missing a front wing end plate as well, so that's interesting to see, but there goes Tom as well. He's trying to make his way past LK at the same time. You can see, look at that grip the fresh mediums have over the old hard tyres. And there he goes, up into P9, some extra points. And that's Pascal Gill, who's found himself in the gravel this evening. And he's not the first, and to be honest, he's not going to be the last driver this season to find the gravel. But he's going to be hoping that he doesn't find it again. But for him, very much, that almost signals the end of any chances of points this race. And quite a bit of disappointment going... OMB's way, not the way they wanted this season. Look at this, Tom and David getting into a good battle. Whoa! Tyre hooking like crazy into the left-hander, still going side by side. Who's going to come out on top here? Contact, lots of contact. We know that David has that damage on his front wing end plate, so I think that's very much affecting him through the corners. That's where Tom has caught him out, and now up into P8. He's chasing after that chance of a P4 finish. He wants to get a top 5 finish this evening, and that Alpine looks ready to do it. But here comes David once again. He's trying to make his way past on the brakes, side by side. Can they make the move? No, David can't, and that is Tom holding on to P8, and a good defense as well. Very good defending from the AERT driver, but he's going to have to battle again. He hasn't got a lot of battery, but he's got DRS. But there goes David once again, but on the inside of the corner, and with that front wing end plate damage, it just means David can't do anything to get past. He can't do anything to get past that Alpine this evening. It's proving to be a tough one for himself. It's very much proving to be a very tough one to sort. So a very new sort of thing to see this evening. Very new to see. But as usual with this game, it's the way it goes. But look at this. Jerry Weiss holding up absolutely everyone now. So he's really, of course, struggling on his tyres. He's struggling a lot on his tyres now. On those extra worn hard tyres. He's dropping back for Marvin, who's on the same amount of tyre wear. And same, sorry, not tyre wear, but same amount of laps on those hard tyres. They both pitted on the same lap. So we're waiting to see how they're going to do, but we can see sort of the gaps have grown. P1 and P2 in a sort of racing on their own in the lead. We just see them swapping places. No real hard racing happening there. And then we've got P3 on their own, and then we've got P4 down to about P16. Just all here as Jerry Weiss battling with Marvin over position. We've got an Alpine further back. Look at that. Jerry Weiss still battling with Marvin. Going to have a compromised line through this final corner and on the exit. My big question is, where is Tom going to get to? Because he's already battling for more position. As there goes Jerry Weiss. Marvin dropping down the order. Marvin battling with Nemi, of course. Nemi's been sitting there quietly. I've got to say, Nemi has been a very quiet driver today. Just sitting behind these two cars. Sitting in that P6 position. Not charging, not pushing, not trying to make any moves until now. And now the pressure's starting to rise. He's really, really pushing to get past now. He really needs to get past this Red Bull and yet he is struggling to do so. Remember, that penalty isn't going to help. I think we've got Pesci having a bit of a battle. He's dropped down behind David now. He's dropped down another placer for Pesci. It's such a disappointing evening for UFRT, dropping down these couple of places. Look at this. Tom is on the inside. Tom is on the inside of the Ferrari, and still he's there. And he's going to get past Nemi into the next corner. That just superior grip, that superior tyre wear, proving to be the thing that's going to keep him in this battle. As now he makes his way into P6 and chasing after P4 now. And that's going to prove to be an interesting one. I think Trosh just had a bit of a moment. Because see, there's going to be a bit of discussion over at SET who's going to be taking on this final points position. But they're both attacking the Ferrari at the same time. They're both trying to give him a couple of problems. But I think the SET drivers might be giving themselves a little bit of problems as they have a bit of contact through the hairpin. But again, we're going to look. David made his way past Nemi as well. So those fresh medium tyres just working out. 4 laps to go in this race. Here comes Pesci at the same time. Whoa! A lot of contact there. They both go wide. Half spin. Oh my god! Contact absolutely everywhere. Pesci, I think, has he gotten damage or was that to Sir with face? I'm not sure who's gotten damage. It was LK who received the front wing end plate damage. But now he's dropped back. Nemi's battling once again. Everybody's going everywhere. Pesci, I don't think is going to be happy at all with that defense. But again, very hard racing going on into these final 4 laps this evening. Everybody just really getting each other's back up. And there we go again. More contact between Nemi and Pesci over position. And it's just proving to be a bit of a strange evening. I think in one, it's kind of natural to see the racing get harder as we get towards the end of the race. The pressure growing more and more as Trosh, I think for the first... Whoa! And across the grass, Trosh has to go. Has a escape across the track, and he loses a place in all of that. But Alexander getting a little bit hasty, trying to defend his position, but he's outside of that top 10, of course. That top 13, sorry. I should really be saying, but his teammate is battling there. Pascal Gill gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and there goes Kaname. Has he just made a double overtake on both Nemi and Pesci? I very much think he has, and that's a great move made, as there goes Trosh, who also makes his way back up to P14, and it's a good move for himself, as now SKG tried to push for double points this evening. Whether they will or they won't, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think we've 3 laps to go. Tom now trying to make his way past. He's trying to make his way past Marvin. We've seen Marvin put up some very strong defenses, but that, again, the tyre wear, the grip off of the exit just is undeniable against the Red Bull. It's just, you can't beat the tyre wear on that Alpine at all. You just can't. And there he goes. You could just see the gap growing as he now chases after P4 in tonight's race. He chases after those strong points positions. He really wants to get them. He really needs them as well. But we'll have to see, because at the moment, EVR, by my account, will be scoring the most points this evening, with FR dropping down. I think we'll be seeing Marvin drop down to roughly about P10 in this race. So only 4 points there. Only 22 points versus EVR that's going to be scoring a lot more points. So EVR will be leading the championship out of the first race of the season, which I believe is the first time we've seen that. But Frozen back up into the lead. We're about to go into the final 2 laps of tonight's race. I think we're about to see a very interesting final 2 laps. The race leaders have been very quiet. David as well gets past Marvin at the same time. And Sir with face, I think, is very much wanting to follow through with that and also get past Marvin for another position and to get into the battle for the top 6. But of course on those old tyres, is it possible? Is it not? He's trying to do it. He's going to try and get that turn in. But that Mercedes, just those hard tyres, that Mercedes just not able to do it. Just going to have to wait for a bit longer. But this is where the quiet battling, the quiet race we've had at the front is going to change, because Nico Rassenberg has just, I think, made a mistake or two. Frozen's just been waiting for that, because now Frozen is 9 tenths off into the lead, and I think he's been just saving his tyres for these final 2 laps, and now he is pushing everything he's got to hold on to the lead. He wants to win. EVR want to take an opening race victory to start off Season 6 assists. Are we going to see it? I think we are very much going to be seeing a final lap showdown between the top two. Will it be a debut victory for Nico Rassenberg and for FR, or will it be another win counting in assists for EVR and another win for Frozen? What are we going to see? Who are we going to see come out on top? Into the final corner. We're about to go on to the final lap as Nico Rassenberg runs off track. See Kaname making it up another place. He's trying to get past Marvin for P8 in this race, and he does. And that's a good save from Kaname for SET. It gives them the chance now at some good points to end off their evening. And it's proving to be an interesting one. LK is going to be next, but he's a bit far behind. But he is going to have Pesci pressuring him behind for, of course, that P10 finish. Pressuring him for those 4 points. Of course, LK wants to score those 4 points. He wants to just help his teammate and help LR that little bit more to get into those points. They were strong. They did decently well in qualifying. They had a strong qualifying performance, but they need a bit more now. And now we're going to look to the lead. But actually, we're going to look to Sir with Face, who now makes his way past David for P6. Where has this come from Sir with Face? Is he doing this so EVR can wrap up the championship lead out of the opening race? But we're going to look to the leaders now. I don't care anything else that's happening. We've got to look to the leaders. Frozen's gotten a really good gap. He's gotten a really good exit as well. He's almost a second in the lead. He is over a second, and it's been a very bad exit from Nico Rassenberg as now they make their way down this long main straight. And I think that is Jack that has gone round. I think he's going to be finishing last this evening. And there goes Frozen. He's leading into the hairpin. He has led for huge chunks of this race. He's led. He's also been in second. He hasn't dropped any lower than that. And here comes Frozen across the line. Frozen and EVR win the opening race of FRLT Season 6 assists in China. It's going to be Parker who comes across the line next in P3 to finish off the podium. Then it is Tom with a great comeback to the day. Then Jerry Weiss. Then So with Face, David, Kaname, Pesci just gets in at the line. Then LK in 10th. Then Hasho, then Trosh, then Nemi, then Alexander Esposito, then Marvin, who finishes outside of the points. Then we've got Pascal Gill, and finally Jack, who crosses the line. But oh my god, we have just seen one of the closest finishes, I think, from P4 to the back of the grid. But in the end, Marvin doesn't even get any points after his long battle. But it is EVR who come out on top this evening. It's EVR who come out with a top-class finish to their first race of the season. In a league of their own with FR, very much Frozen and Nico Rassenberg in a league of their own tonight. Just in the lead by over 10 seconds, by the way, which is whopping. That is, it's just a whopping lead from the top two, I've got to say. Fast lap, of course, goes to Tom as well, so he gains that extra point. Fast lap. But in the end, it is Frozen who wins in the opening race, followed by Nico Rassenberg, Parker, Tom, Jerry Weiss, Sir with Face, David, Kaname, Pesci, LK, Hasho, Trosh, and Nemi, who ends out the points paying positions. Then there's Alexander Esposito, Marvin, Pascal Gill, and Jack, with the retirements being Kimmy and Rick. In the end, that is that. And that is very much the race over. And that's the opening race of assists over. And I have no words for that. It was just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable tonight. Brilliant racing from everyone. Absolutely brilliant. I've got no words. So, absolutely no words at all. Absolutely brilliant evening. I don't know what to say. Some of the best racing I think I have seen in a long time. I think it is genuinely one of the closest and toughest grids. I mean, 20 seconds splitting, just over 20 seconds, by the way, about almost 30 seconds splitting first to last, which is just everybody within the battle sort of area back to Pascal Gill was kind of 20 seconds apart, which is one of the closest grids we've actually had, by the way, with no safety car as well. On average, we set nearly 40 seconds as the gap between first and last. So very different to see that. Very, very different to see that in the end. But yeah, that is that, everybody. And with that, I've got only one thing to do, and that is to name my drive for the day. And for me, I'm going to be honest, it's AERT Tom. I genuinely think... I genuinely think it was him. The comeback was brilliant, fighting through the pack. Yes, on fresher tyres, but the way he did it was absolutely brilliant. In the end, I think it's very difficult. I think there were 3, 4, 5 different drivers at least who were all in the battle for that. I do agree with Jamie Rose. I do agree with Sir with Face. I think Frozen, Sir with Face, Nico Rassenberg, AERT Tom. I think they all deserve, all sort of those 4, I think deserve something from that. If I'm all being honest, they were all very, very close. And all absolutely brilliant, to be honest. I think also I've got to say other drivers that sort of sit in there. I think I'm trying to find one other driver that sits in there. I've just forgotten his name for the life of me. Parker as well. Parker, absolutely out of nowhere. Brilliant pace. But in the end, that is the end of this evening. Before I go, we will have one last look at the calendar. We've completed China, the first race. We completed the qualifiers, and we've completed China now. Next week, we will be going to Austria. Yes, we go to Europe to go through Austria, Imola, and Great Britain for over the next 3 weeks. Everybody loves a bit of Austria. Shortest track for lap time on the grid. I think also the shortest track altogether. And, of course, the track with the least amount of corners, just 9 corners, if I'm correct. If I remember correctly, I think it is just 9 corners. But what an absolutely incredible day. So next week, we'll be going to Austria. Of course, later in the week, we have no assists on Saturday at 8 p.m. We're also going to China for that. So make sure to tune in on Saturday for that. But there will be some shorts and some tweets and things like that. So make sure to go follow us on Twitter at FRLT F1. Make sure to go and do that. Also, make sure to join the Discord server. The link is now working. I can confirm it is now working. So make sure to go and do that. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It just shows so much support towards everybody who's here. Also, make sure to click on that notification bell to know about all of the content we do, short streams and videos here at FRLT. And with that, I hope you guys have an absolutely brilliant day. And I will see you again on Saturday for round number 1 of No Assists. Hope you all have an absolutely brilliant week, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away. Leave. Maybe we're fanning the flame. So why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. And still battling with Kuba.
be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Ease your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you all.
Speed's gone wide! Speedy's going incredible!
Ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the